If you want a Christian perspective on the war in Ukraine, written by Christians on the ground in Ukraine, then you have got to read Serving God Under Siege: How War Transformed a Ukrainian Community, written by Valentyn Syniy. This is a book I could not put down. What Syniy does is he narrates the lead up to the war, what happened with the Russian invasion into Ukraine, then the occupation in Kherson. And, at the time, he was the principal of a theological college in Kherson, the Tavarisky Christian Institute. And he tells people, what happened, how the Russians came in, they occupied the seminary, they used it to garrison their soldiers, they even brought prostitutes in there and turned parts of it into a brothel. It's a real amazing story. It's a story of faith, suffering, hardship, the people who helped them, the people who let them down, or the struggles they faced, not simply from the Russian invasion, but, being a refugee within your own country, learning about the distinctions within your country between the East and the West, the North and the South, a lot of the hardships that they endured. It is a fantastic read. And he talks a lot about not just, recent history, but a bit about theology as well. Because when war happens, you've got to deal with the question of God, evil, and suffering. And in fact, in my favorite chapter of the book, this is what he says. When a missile hits your home, your theology will change immediately. I read this comment on the internet under a photo that showed the devastating outcomes of the Russian shelling of the living quarters of a home of a peaceful Ukrainian city. One can, of course, argue with the person who wrote it because main theological beliefs remain unchanged. But it is necessary to revise the context in which we find ourselves from time to time, to see what is relevant and what is not. The war between Russia and Ukraine is an example of that. And then he adds a bit later, with deepest regrets, I must admit that the war dealt a heavy blow to the faith and convictions of Christians in our country. I meet such believers. Some of them look as if they had the ground cut out from under their feet. People leave churches. They stop believing in God. It looks like their knowledge of the Bible and of God does not help them understand what is going on. There is confusion in their hearts. Discrepancies between reality and the Sermon on the Mount keep growing. How can we love those who have come to kill us? Should we be willing to do good unto those who hate us? Why do I find it hard to pray for those who hurt us and drive us out of our homes? Do we turn the left cheek to the one who hits us on the right cheek? It really is a moving book, and it's also laced with a lot of reflections of a pastor and a theological educator about how do you lead people going through a horrendous crisis like that. It's a book with a lot of moments of despair, but also shards of light that shine through in the end. And I've got to tell you, this is easily one of the best books I've read this year. It is terrific. It's autobiographical, it's theology, it's historical, it's contemporary events. Don't go to the bookstore or your favorite book buying website without getting this book. You will not be disappointed.